Mr. Chairman, we approve the meetings of,
Hello and welcome to the Milford Finance Committee meeting, Wednesday, February 13th. First item on the agenda is the approval of the December 12th, 18 meeting minutes.
move.
Motion by Jack.
Second.
Second by Al. All those in favor? Unanimous. I had IT as the next thing on. I'm going to jump them ahead and get Mr. Pillow home, because I'm a nice guy.
Oh.
All right.
Because we like him.
Totem pole, Andy, sorry.
Talk fast, Chris.
So we're going to have the finance director in, and also we have Kristen Tom in regarding the budget memo that needs to be sent out to all department heads in order to get the budget process formally rolling. I'm sure all department heads have been working on their budgets for a while, but they need to get the direction from us in order to make it formal.
Question. Look at that.
We're gonna be settled there for a while.
Jack, do you have one more, the second one?
Zach had paid the bill. Did you pay the
Zach,
bill for the?
You have one more, the second one there?
It's working now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Skinny.
100 pounds? 100 pounds?
Zach, 16, yeah.
He can't hear. He lost his hearing too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I figured last year was so successful in how we presented it, I was going to follow suit. I wanted to start by giving a half-year update through December 31st. That's the first document I handed out. Just some of the financial highlights here. As you know, free cash was 3.8 at the end of last year. We did tap into it a little bit at the October town meeting and purposely saved a healthy balance to roll into May, clear the snow and ice deficit. So we're sitting on 2.3 million thus far. Hasn't been snowing a lot, so it's a good thing. Retained earnings for the enterprise fund. It's funny, we actually had 2 enterprise funds certified this year, so I think certain members are getting those emails now. So retained earnings for the sewer, we're at 1.2 million, and that's because we transferred $2 million into the stabilization account. Next line below it, 5.5 million. So collectively, we're looking at close to $7 million. Just real quickly, the 3 of us did meet with John Mainini. As we know, we have the sludge handling facility that's actively being built as we speak. Just a quick reminder for the subcommittees there, the financing plan, the total was 5.2 million. We did appropriate 3.2 million, so we have $2 million that we had authorization to borrow. Based on our discussions, we don't think we're actually going to bond it, based on those levels you're looking at here, as well as the projected time frame years that we can kind of ride through this fiscal year, and we may be looking to appropriate from either the new certified retained earnings or potentially stabilization of the enterprise fund stabilization in October. So that will be coming as well. Excess levy last year at 3.7. That'll become important for later on when we get to the balance sheet. Reserve fund, you guys have done good. You're still sitting on $103,000. We have not tapped into it. Stabilization fund balances at market value. A question came up at the last meeting, and I didn't have the numbers in front of us, but now we're just shy of 23 million. Chris, I bet you we're past that now, based on January, or close.
Yeah, we're right around there. The market was a little bit down in January, so it ended down. But we're right around the 23 million mark with at market value.
And you just met with Bartholomew, so I don't know if you wanted to say a few words.
We just met with Bartholomew to go over our end of calendar year numbers. Right now, we're sitting at about a 2.79 rate of return on the stabilization, about a 1.98 on our trust funds, and the OPEB's a little over 2%. So we're doing well. We're staying we're staying ahead of the game. They don't look at, they look at multiple markets across the board, but the main market they look at is the consumer index, and overall, our accounts are staying, if not equal to it, a little bit above that. So our next meeting with them would probably be at the end of the fiscal year, so August.
Thank you. I put the governor's budget state aid figures on here, fiscal 20, 31.3 million. It's a significant increase over last year, which last year was a significant increase over the year before. So I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I'm shocked at it, because I am. But historically, what we've seen with Baker here is that I don't think that the figures will stray too far from where they're presented. So that's a good thing. The assessment side went up a little bit too, but not anything too alarming, 2.1. We look at our, go ahead.
Sorry, Zach. So the cherry sheet, just so I understand, between the two sheets, I know we're not on the other sheet yet. This is 2020, right?
Correct.
That's 31,069,000, but you have 31,383. What? I don't follow it.
So we break out, see the offsets for public libraries and
Yep.
school choice, so we
Yep.
break them out separately, because they don't go to the general fund.
Okay.
So that's just displayed that way because they go to their own funds, as you know, school choice, the school's able to use the inn, the library's a separate fund, but, so the number represented here is just right at the bottom of the gross cherry sheet in, yeah, that's
you.
the only thing, but good observation. Yeah. Revenues, we're on point right now, we're looking good, nothing to be alarmed about at all there, we seem to be on target. No snow and ice deficit. Articles, Tom will be talking a little bit at a future meeting about closeouts. Things seem to be good there as well, and I do think we'll have some money for you at the end of this, at the annual town meeting. Chris spoke a little about OPEB. We're over 5 million now.
But the closeouts, those are pretty recent now, right? Because we've been.
Well, last year was 167,000.
No, but I mean from dates. We don't have
Correct.
any more 5-year, right? Because we
Yeah,
made a
they're more
conscious
recent.
effort.
Yes, we did.
4 years, don't you?
We made a
Something like
con,
4 years, right?
we made a conscious effort to clean them out, so it shouldn't be more than 2 or 3.
Some were well over 10 years, yes.
Not anymore, though.
We've closed again.
Okay.
We've closed a lot of the old ones out. The inactive
Some
ones.
of them are still out at 4 years. aren't they?
There's probably a couple.
4 to 5, yeah.
Yes, yeah. But to Al's point, yes, done a good job of cleaning them up. Yeah. And like we've talked in the past, I asked the subcommittee members to go over them articles when you're going over budgets, and there are a couple out there that, in my opinion, probably can be closed, so keep pushing.
Tom, you bring those up to us. We'll make
Are
sure
you
they
gonna give
get.
us a list of those again?
We will, yep.
Prior to the.
Yeah, they are on the drive, correct. Yep, but yes, we can, I can give it to you in chronological
help me
order
when you
as
can't.
well.
I can get you right up to the minute.
Yep.
Articles.
Tommy, it's just years ago, we had 8, 9-year articles, and we had made a conscious effort and a commitment to clean them up.
And we did some.
Some of them you can't. It's just fact of life, they could still be spent. But at least if we, if we have a targeted list, like Zach does, that will now be you every
Yeah.
spring, then we go after them.
Can't think of any reason in the world why not.
And I have, but this past year I did, and of course you get pushback from the department heads if they still think they're gonna use them, so.
I have a hard time believing that if you haven't used it in 5 years.
Agreed, I'm with you.
Yep.
Yeah, I am with you.
right,
But
so
we
why don't
will
you
get that list out.
Get the list to us.
Trying
and
to
I'll
find
have
out
it
what to
distributed.
spend is what they're on.
Just a quick look at the operational budget. Last year, or this current year, 104 million. We're at 45%, which I did look at the prior December. That's on target, and mostly because of education and just the way the calendar falls with the school system there. Now, employee benefits might be gaining your attention at 66.6%. Included in that figure are all the transfers that we do to OPEB and to the retirement system. They're already done based on our cash flow. We got them out the door, so kind of distorts it a little bit. So on target there as well. So we're looking good. So moving on to the next sheet, I distributed the balance sheet, the estimated revenues for fiscal '20, and the projected expenditures for fiscal '20 as well. Levy's getting pretty large. So again, that is where we could have gone plus 2.5%, not where we ended up last year. Last year, we were 3.7, less than where we could have gone. I want to draw your attention to the estimated new growth. Usually this time of year, we're at a much lower figure, but the past historic, short-term 5-year trend has been a lot larger, and I know Paul has been in communication with the assessors, and it seems to be wise to increase that to a more realistic figure of 650,000 for now. So that's what we did.
What's driving it?
New growth. It's a mix of your new decks and your pools and whatnot,
It's
but
not
some,
anything big, like years ago, we had the hospital that drove it for a year.
yeah. There's new development in town, and then,
Development,
yeah,
construction.
It's just the economy doing better, people adding
Yeah.
additions.
I would say
No
so.
big project, or it's just
Yeah,
a
there is.
normal,
The new,
Yeah,
the new warehouse for the distributor,
yeah, I was just gonna say that.
plus the new gas
At a
station
loss
out
for,
there. That's
what
gotta be
is the
$5
name?
million project.
Restaurant Depot, that's it. I couldn't think of the name of it.
Plus
Yeah,
the gas
that's one of
station
them.
Across the street's gotta be another 4 or 5 million.
Yeah.
That's a huge project.
Yeah, so there's some decent commercial that's going on as well. Plus, as TIF money falls off, that gets on as well. But a lot of it is residential with just your collectively, a lot of small things making up bigger numbers. Local receipts, we've kind of been doing similar situation year after year. The biggest driver there is motor vehicle excise tax. So we increased, Paul, what was that, 2%? 1%, correct, right? And then we kind of shuffled the deck with looking at license and all those other small permits and whatnot. A lot of them are level funded. This is kind of our moneymaker, if you will. We try to purposely stay conservative here, where many other communities are in the exact opposite, because when you build your tax recap, local receipts give you the ability to tax more. So I think that's what gets a lot of communities in trouble. So we stick with what's working here and stay kind of conservative. Again, cherry sheet figures, to Jeff's point, that's why you see a difference, because you break out the school choice and the public libraries going to different funds. This is all supposed to be filtered to the general fund, so we break it out because they're not going to the general fund. Room occupancy tax, technically speaking, is a local receipt, but it is coming from the state. That's why we classify it here with the state. Sewer department, as you know, the revenue matches what we have on the other side with the expenditures. It's an in and out. So, taking your attention to what we're really here for is the operational budget and the projections that we put together. We build the projections based on what we anticipate revenue to come in, and we also always take a step back. We had our chairmanship meeting, and we set certain goals and objectives, and want to make sure that first and foremost, we have the ability to tackle those non-operational budget monetary articles that will be coming up, to ensure that there's the availability to do so, and then kind of back into the operational budget. Now, if you look at the bottom, we did hit a 2.5% overall across the board on all budgets, and then the ones that we know just simply will not be able to handle 2.5, we adjust. Retirement, 6.7%. Last year, we talked about moving the funding schedule up. We did so, and the ramification was a 6.7% increase. Health insurance, we currently have at 5.5. However, it looks a lot better than that. So we'll keep it there for now, because nothing's been officially voted and whatnot. But shockingly, it looks really, really good, and I'll just leave it at that. It looks a lot better than 5.5. Comp, we increased 5%, and then some of the larger budgets that we know historically are not going to be 2.5, public safety, for instance, and education, we've increased to a more realistic figure, using 3.5% for all three of those.
that includes everything, correct?
Correct.
Sped, ELL, it's not just the operational.
Everything, correct. For a grand total of 107 million. A lot of money. Now, as we all know, those will shuffle up and down, but for the for the most part, we're hoping to keep a target there, as now that both sides are presented, look right in the middle beneath draft to see how tight it is this year, with increasing our new growth numbers, with keeping state aid pretty much right on the money with what the governor had. And also, it reminds me, Jeff, so to fully answer your question too, with the state aid figure there, we did not match, you're probably doing the math in your head, we did not do exactly what the governor had proposed, just because it's not gonna be the final figures. So Paul used a 6% rather than a 6.7. You know, I should have dawned on me earlier, but that's why.
You didn't use the cherry sheet number. The cherry sheet numbers don't match.
Correct.
Because one of them's 31.3 and the other one's 38.51, so it's
Yeah.
a $500,000 difference there.
Yeah, so it's a combination, what I said, you break out the non-general fund figures, as well as we didn't use the exact number, because we don't know right now what it's gonna be.
He's actually talking about even more money.
We'll see. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's the exact reason why we don't use the projected number, or the actual figures to projected for,
The revenue numbers came in
what'd you say, December?
really short.
Yeah. And January, yeah.
Was there no offset or assessment from the state on public transportation?
There is.
Oh, I didn't see it here.
It's embedded in the assessments on the bottom right-hand side. That figure, we were anticipating to be 125, and off the top of my head, I think it was 97. It was below, it was right, 97, 95, somewhere over there. Now, the 125 was always presented to be an estimate, you know, and that was actually based on 250. State aid was projected to kick in at roughly half. That's where 125 came in. But it was always known to us that the actual figures, the actual cost would come into play. So it's nice to know that it's less rather than higher. So,
Thank you.
but it is included in that figure. Right. All right. Bottom right-hand side, just quick summary, stabilization, 650, and Chris will talk about that in a minute. Overlay figures, it's just part of the tax recap. We're using historic numbers there. Assessment, again, right off the cherry sheet. Capital projects still at 1.5, and you saw when we had our meeting, we're pretty right on the money there, which is very
As long
pleasing.
as we remember that the 650 for the new TUI toy
Yep,
is outside the 1.5, otherwise, you're
Correct.
right, we're dead on the money.
dead on the money, yep. which is-
First time in a long time we
Yes, it is.
started dead on the money.
I know. I don't know whether that's scary or we should pat ourselves on the back, but really cool.
I'll take it either way.
Yeah, exactly. The levy adjustment, probably one of the most important things on here. Currently, 3.7. That's what's getting us to pretty much a break even here. To be honest with all you guys, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to hit that target, but for now, as we've done in the past, we're using the same figure that we have for the previous year. And we'll do what we can to keep it there.
What's bothering you about that number?
Large.
It's large, yeah. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, and
Depends on what level budgets are come in at.
Exactly. It's the
exactly.
whole right side.
What is it? Let's speak, what does he say? What does he say?
So 3.7 is based on what we have projected for the budget right now. I mean, we know what the school's looking at. If that goes forward, that's the only place it's gonna tap into is that 3.7. That's just an example. There's many
Police,
others.
fire,
Police.
the big
fire,
ones.
Yeah.
But Zach, I'm totally
Exactly.
confused.
So am I. So what's?
We go every year, and school's gonna have to come in at 2 point something. Okay. Why would that be any different this year than,
But they have not come in at 2
So
point
that- so that-
anything
so
in the
that's- so
past
the point is
5,
that-
6,
that
7
the-
years
but
in a
they
row.
always have if you
No,
don't.
they haven't.
When you blend it in with everything else, yes, but ELL and SPED, take that out, they should be hitting 2 point something. They end up
Yeah,
at
but
4 or
besides
5.
Either way,
that,
but
it's
that's,
still a-
that's included in the number.
It has to make it to the.
It doesn't matter if, out of the 52 million, it doesn't matter if 50 of it is regular
Oh,
and
okay,
2
so
is
you haven't taken in
sped.
the anticipated SPED
We're
shortfall.
using 3.75 for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know that's gonna be 300 to 400,000.
Correct.
So anything more than 52.1, we're gonna have to take off of the
Thank you.
Tax
Yeah,
the tax rate.
correct.
So that's why that we both feel, and I think a lot of us who have talked about this already, feel that 3.7 is not
That 52,
And a hold.
I'm sorry, that 52 million number, that includes BVT, correct?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, all education.
Okay, so
Yes, it
it's
does.
not just the Milford
Yes, it
Public
does.
School Systems,
Yep,
that includes BVT as well. so
yep,
I
and the
think-
the two
I think
others
we are
that
on
are.
track to be
Aggie,
over
Yeah,
that.
North, yes.
Tri-Valley.
Yes,
We're looking
you
at
got
it
it.
being
Exactly.
well over that number this year, so, okay.
The school department's so-called level fund request, I think, was about 4% this year, if I'm remembering
4.24.
correctly. 4.24.
But does that include sped ELL?
Yes, I believe it does.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a level surface.
When you
yeah.
take that out, that's why I believe, there can be 2 point something. Now, when you blend it all together, if you really took your report the end of the year, they're probably 5-6% every year.
Yeah,
You know, if we start putting in the parks contribution, the highway.
not even any of
No, but- no,
that.
but wait, Zach, but that's what I'm saying. If you really, the report you do to the state
Yes,
saying we spent X dollars,
yes,
That's
the end of
probably-
year report, yes.
that's nowhere near 4 or 5%. That's always been higher.
Yeah, probably.
But their discretionary or their operating funds, we gotta keep them at 2 point something percent, otherwise the whole budget falls apart.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I just don't want people, you know, you hear this 4 point something, and it's like, no, it's 2 point something, and we do sped and ELL. I mean, just the.
But that's still part of the educational
Oh, no,
budget.
no,
so
no, I
mean,
agree.
don't know
I'm
what
just,
you're
but I'm
trying to
thinking of
say.
numbers. I don't want, you know, you hear 6% that the school committee wants. Well, that isn't gonna happen on just their operating budget, because if that was the truth, they'd be up 10, 11% overall.
All right, let's move along from the school department, because I don't really want to,
No, just,
yeah. No, I understand your point, but,
That's what we have.
Yep.
That's
So
what we
anyway,
have built. I think it's pretty realistic. I hope it's pretty realistic. I think this is a good basis to go off of.
I think the big highlight of this all is what you had said, in the center of the page, and you look at surplus. Right now, with what we have here, and trying to keep this, we're only at a $13,000.
Yeah. It's tight.
You know, it's very tight. Obviously, you know, between what the budgets come in, between what the cherry sheet finally ends up on, we have a lot of variables right now that are obviously going to change. These are all best guess scenarios, and in the past, I'll be honest with you, they've really been close. So I would think that when you're looking at this, that when it's all said and done, between the budgets and the cherry sheet money and that kind of stuff, you're gonna see here, we're gonna have a tight year.
I believe we
What's
will.
in the other uses, that 8.6?
It's like a miscellaneous fund.
Oh, that's just the total.
that's the
just
total of everything above it.
Yes.
Oh,
I should
okay, I see,
remind
I
It's
you
see.
not
of that,
8.6
yeah.
million of miscellaneous.
It does look that way.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see where you were looking
The
at.
total other uses is
Yeah.
the sum.
Yeah.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
Can I suggest you not include this request of new employee form in here?
Well, we included it last year and sent out a directive that this isn't an invitation.
It was a direct
it's not
direct
receipts.
request from the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, we had this debate last
Buckley-
year.
Bill
yeah.
Bu- If you watch Bill Buckley, Monday night, he said this was not going to happen this year. He said, we're not going to be adding people by virtue of sidestepping. All this is going to, any new employee in the town is going to have a seal of approval by the Board of Selectmen prior to going.
But it's still a good indication that we receive from the department heads of where their ideas are. And again, we sent a directive out saying this isn't a free invitation, that it's going to get approved.
We had a big half-hour debate on this, I think it was even longer than a half-hour
Yeah.
debate on this exact thing last year. If we want to go ahead and do it again, but we can go through all the reasons, exactly, it comes down to what
That is
Brownie's
really
saying.
the relation
It's
between those two.
stipulated to them, point blank, this is not,
And nobody abused it last year.
Yeah.
There was only a
So,
couple.
But they only control 40%.
Oh,
I mean, I'm confused. How can the selectmen veto or control everybody that's hired on the town when 60% comes from the school,
so they should be
right?
included in the schools also.
Well,
They're the ultimate executive power.
they are?
With that increase? Oh, definitely they are.
no,
The last time we
It's
tried,
the school committee.
the last time we tried putting a moratorium on hiring, you could not impose it on the elected officials of the school committee.
Correct.
They have their own.
But you don't have to fund it.
That's correct.
You
That's,
don't have to fund the
that's,
position.
that's what the,
That's the premise, as always. They can go hire all they want, but if they don't get the funding from this committee and the support from the Board of Selectmen, and town meeting, that's all for naught.
Exactly,
That's
that's,
the
and that's the countermeasure on it, Jerry, you're exactly right, so.
And it's the same way with union contracts. You can talk about it all day long, but until we put a blessing on it, put it in the budget, and take it to town meeting and get it approved, it's useless,
No one would, yep.
Exactly.
okay? And that's where everybody gets things turned around.
Yep.
I don't wanna say what I was gonna say, but
Okay.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna have Tom go through, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. the
But one
timeline.
thing that we didn't, as I wanted to let everyone know about why the 650 in the
Yes,
stabilization.
So,
Yeah,
650.
just let Mr. Pello go ahead.
thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, this plan was presented to both chairmans of the Finance Committee and the Selectmen, from myself, Zach, Tom, Paul. What we're proposing is, when our debt service falls off each year, we take the difference of what the new budget's gonna be from the old budget, and we add it into our stabilization account. So, for example, last year, it was, I'm just using hypothetical numbers, it was 5.2 million. FY '20, it might be 5 million, so that additional 200,000, we want to add to the original $500,000 contribution, so realistically, we're putting 700,000 into stabilization. The reason why we're doing this, or we're going to start trying to do this, is there's been a lot of talks of different projects coming up here and there, without getting into them. We're just trying to plan for the future. This will allow us to keep a balanced budget. It will help us keep the debt service budgets in line as well, and eventually that we'll be able to draw down from stabilization to fund some of these projects. This money will go into the regular stabilization. It's not going to be going into the capital stabilization you have, which is at 5.5 million. So you guys can choose to use that when we need to use that too for smaller projects. if we choose.
Yeah, but 2 million of that's earmarked
Yep.
Yep, that's right.
to keep us like this year, if I may, Mr. Chairman. This year, we have 1.5 million, and we're pretty happy that we're on the money, but really, it's 2.1 something.
It is.
Because we got the TUI toy, the 650 that we tucked away.
That's right.
And one of these days, the 1 million that we earmarked for do the new field will come due.
Correct.
But the good news is it won't hurt us. I love this idea because we're going to get it. I mean, this is school coming in 6 to 8 years.
That's the real
That's
reason.
the real, without saying,
Yeah.
without going too
And-
far into it.
there's a water company to buy first.
That's
guys.
the other
The
reason.
water company has to be done first.
And I think one of the important things that we need to highlight, and Chris said it, and I don't know if everyone caught that, is this is money that's coming off of debt service. This isn't new money that we're taking away and saying we're taking this money away from police, fire. This is not. This is debt service money that's being lowered because we're paying down our debt, and that difference we're putting into the stabilization account. And I think that that's a big. That someone needs to know that we're not robbing some other department to throw more money in stabilization. We're taking money that we would have spent and we did previously spent the year before on our debt service, and when it has gone down, we take that difference, and instead of the 500,000 like we always do, we're throwing that extra 150 in because it's come off of debt service. So I think that's an important thing that people don't think that we're taking away from some other departments in order to increase our
But you're
stabilization.
protecting, because
That's the
And
word
that
I was
is
trying to
that
think
is-
of. There you
that's-
go.
that's the word I
perfect.
wanted
the
to
day
use. Yes.
comes when we
Yes.
have to hit it.
Yes.
You know, like, when the new school comes, 8 years from now, I mean, I'd love to be in the same position with Woodland, where you're coming to us saying, I got all this extra money, no profanity, you know, no use of those bad words of 2.5 override or debt exclusion. So I think it's a great idea.
Awesome.
Does anybody have any other questions for the three wise men?
Oh, Shep and Larry.
As usual, you guys, great work.
I was gonna have
I'm
Tom
sorry.
present
Well, we
the
do have the
timeline.
Oh, my
budget,
fault. Yeah.
but it is pretty much in line with last year and the timelines. And I'll run through it real quick. All the documentation you have following the cover sheet, the summary, is the information that'll be forwarded out to all the department heads. So Monday, February 11th, we met with the Board of Selectmen. They voted unanimously to support the following. General expense budgets must be level funded. Departments should build personal service budgets to reflect known contractual rates, meaning anticipated step increases through the course of the year. Have that built into their budget. Departments that have expiring collective bargaining contracts should use last year's rates. And I put a few of the ones listed on the summary of which contracts are coming up for renewal. And the very last page shows the contract dates of the different unions. Now, that won't be included in the budget. Neither will the second last page, the personnel directive.
So they should structure their budgets
Correct,
based on the current contract that they
Yes.
have.
correct. And then we'll go to town meeting for any increases that we
And
need.
if the contract is accepted and approved,
Yes.
then we will assess the amount that's going to be presented at the fall town meeting,
Exactly.
Correct.
if town meeting decides to approve it.
If town.
What
Correct.
does it have to say? Town
Exactly.
meeting, somebody can stand up on town meeting and say, I don't like this department.
Absolutely.
And turn the whole town meeting and turn that budget right down, contract is null and void.
Methuen should have done that.
Yeah.
They can, and it has happened in this state.
Yeah, yes, it is.
If you- but I'm not advocating.
And again, D,
But I'm also, the thing that you have to be careful of here is you don't want to screw up the negotiations by preempting what's
Our
going on.
exact point here. yeah.
and D outlines exactly what you just stated, Jerry, that the budget impacts will be at the next
So,
available
and
town
so
meeting.
any discussion any further is probably inappropriate at this
Yep.
point.
Correct.
Yep.
This is standard, we've done this for years,
Absolutely.
nothing
I was
is
gonna say,
different.
isn't this the same we've been doing for every year?
100%,
Zach, this is nothing new. We've been doing this forever.
exactly.
Yes, it
Every
is.
year we get turned
That's
around.
the way we do business.
Somebody turns
Yes,
around.
it is. Yep.
So again, subject to tonight's Finance Committee approval to proceed, the following documents will be included in the budget we sent to the department heads. And then in March, all preliminary budgets are due no later than March 15th. A roundtable discussion with the Board of Selectmen to review budget details of each department will take place. Then if applicable, it will obtain any additional information we need on any surprises that we receive. And then we'll bring all the boards together, we'll come with we'll meet with the subcommittees, the finance subcommittees, and then ultimately discuss at a Board of Selectmen meeting and in front of the full Finance Committee. And then in April, we'll review the town budget as projected versus submitted for final approvals to be included in Article 4 in the May town meeting. And then hence May, financial town meeting we'll have, and then we'll vote to approve the budgets or with town meeting, at town meeting.
You're gonna ask them to approve the budget.
Ask them. There you go.
Ask.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elder. And again, it's standard procedures, my second time around, so I got a better understanding this time than last year. But certainly everything subject to your approval now, or support. I'm gonna send all these budgets out starting tomorrow, budget requests.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I have a first and a second for a favorable recommendation to sending this budget memo out. All those in favor? Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you.
Great work as usual.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
Nice job, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, Andy.
Tommy, let's hope you get bored at giving the same results and the same procedure every year. Because I like,
I thoroughly enjoyed my year and a half so
Yeah, all
far.
right.
It's never boring to come in with good results.
that's what I'm saying, I just want the same thing, over and over and over.
Sorry, Pilla's got a new kid. I had to move him to the
Chairman?
front of the
That
line.
was good.
Hey,
I just ask one thing here, still on the budget.
Certainly, absolutely.
The line at the top, are general expense budgets must be level funded. So as the subcommittees go to their departments,
Yep.
we're gonna argue for level funding, and anything above level funding has to be fully justified.
Absolutely. They gotta come in and fight
That's on
for it.
supplies. That's not on salaries.
No,
Yeah.
general expense budget.
Oh, they gotta come in here and fight for it. Absolutely. And if they have a valid reason, then, we'll go with it. But that's what the recommendation is what they come in.
Okay.
All right, it's been quite a while since we had Andy in here. I've been trying to get him in the last couple of months, but he's been busy, a little short-staffed in his department. He also had a couple things going on, so he's a busy man, so I finally got dragged him in here. So thanks for coming in, Andy, and,
Was he kicking and screaming?
no, he was pretty quiet about it. But, like I said, I just want to get an update from Andy on everything that's going on in IT, so. Take it away.
Well, I want to thank this board and the selectmen for all your support. Also, Zach Taylor and Rick Villani for their guidance and support. I also have to give a thanks to Dan Fournier as well. I wish him in the best of his new endeavors. And I have to thank World Band for also helping in IT-related issues with the town as well. Far since the last time I've been here, we have fully integrated the library within our network. So the library has a new server up there that we replaced back in July, and they formally came over in August of this summer. So that leaves the town hall, senior center, youth center, and the highway department as on the town network right now. We also placed Wi-Fi down the youth center basement, so that increases their Wi-Fi coverage throughout the building. As you know, that is a whole stone building, so there are dead spots, and Jen really needed it downstairs, so that's installed now. We also installed one up in here, too, to increase the coverage in this building as well. We also replaced servers, aging servers at the youth center, senior center, and the highway department, and those are up and running and functional. And we continue to with our licenses, renew our licenses, and see if we can consolidate any of those. We also secured a grant for the library to redo their website, just like we did. That's for 12.5, so pending, hopefully, their approval with the library trustees, we'll get that going with our vendor, which was Virtual Town and Schools, which is now Civic Plus. Civic Plus had bought them out. And we had changed over our antivirus for the town from our Sonic Wall antivirus to Fortinet client, which will give us better administration and better coverage overall.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep, absolutely.
Are we on a single phone system in this town, or do different departments have different systems?
All the phone system works for the town hall, senior center, youth center, highway department, and that's all on the same phone system. As far as the library, Memorial Hall, schools, they're all on.
What about the
separate.
fire department and so forth?
Fire department, police department, and sewer department aren't under IT umbrella right now.
But last year, the fire department was looking for a new phone system, and I know they didn't get it.
If they want my opinion on it, I'd be gladly to give that with them.
What I'm getting at is, we have an awful lot of phones in this town, and there's no reason why everything is not brought together in the same system. You've got the school department on one system, and now they're all Cisco up there, so that's fine. But we don't interface down here. Can we do the 3-number dial and get?
That would be definitely be a project we could look into, and we could partner with the schools with that.
I think it would be a great thing if everybody has the same software, hardware, so you can do that three-digit dialing if I want to talk to Jeff, or I want to talk to Zach. I don't know why I'd want to talk, if I happen to. But that's the fact. I think that would be a great thing to.
That's absolutely a good, valid point, and it's something that I would like to see it, but just getting over all the hurdles and getting everyone together.
Everybody happy.
And everyone happy is the thing we need to accomplish.
I think Chief too is open to joining us when he's ready,
I
so
think,
I think that will happen.
You're starting to unite everything in the town. That would be another.
Speaking of which, Andy, we'll get into, we've made a lot of progress with printers, and we're hopefully signing a print management contract on Friday after we've gone through all the competitive bidding and whatnot. But that's one that similar situation, but prior to Andy, everyone was doing their own thing. Everyone has a little piece in each budget, and you had 17 different types of printers, never mind how many he'll tell you. So we've been consolidating them. We're on a one contract now, and actually I failed to mention that when I was talking about the budgets. What I'm trying to do too is, like we said, consolidate all the printing, so you may actually see less than level funding in some of these general expenses, because we're gonna kind of rob Peter to pay Paul, put it all under one umbrella, have all uniform, secure printers, and do away with this everybody buying ink cartridges at the end of the year to deplete their budget type deal,
Yes.
you know? And then the printers go bad and it's ultimately.
Nobody would
But
do
isn't
that.
that what we did already with some of the servers that we had budgeted 3 years ago in the library, and we turned it over to you so that we would get more efficiency?
As far as the servers?
No, just all the computer budget for the library.
Yes, yes.
Turned it over.
Yes, correct.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So that was the whole idea, was we're not gonna throw out a phone system just to standardize, but when we start moving that way,
Yes, we'll incorporate that when need be.
Zach, you mentioned some areas may be less than level funded because of the printer consolidation.
Correct.
As we sit down with departments, what line item would we watch for to spot that?
Some of them have different names, but it'll either be point blank printing or communications. But I will be meeting with each and every one of them. I also maintain a spreadsheet, so I'll get that out to all your subcommittees as well.
It's, going on with that, we do have NECS, who is our printing vendor, and it's been working out quite well. I give them a call, they'll come out, they'll service the printers. Right now, they're only sending out black cartridges, and it's the generic kind, and there's been a lot of problems with that. Under the new contract, we'll get OEM, HP, genuine, cartridges, so it'll be black and color. So none of the departments will have to purchase color.
So ultimately, one-stop shopping, no
Yes.
more, I have to buy my cartridge here, I gotta get a color here, oh, I gotta call a A1 copier because it's broken, it's all under one
One umbrella.
maintenance contract.
And you'll never run out of cartridges because somebody next door has the same thing.
There you go,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep, and they'll send out the cartridges automatically, so you don't have to call up, hey, I need a cartridge, and you could be out. They try to send them out when you're about 20%, so you always have one to replace.
Yeah, pretty cool. One concern actually heard from Paul is you kind of lose visibility of which departments actually, how much each department's actually printing, but that's not true because we have all this software associated with it. So at the click of a button, he'll tell you exactly how much I printed, never mind how much the department printed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it's actually pretty cool.
the goal is to try to get most people to go to the big printers, which are out in the break room, the selectman's office, those big copiers where the cost of printing is far lower than you would with the office printers.
well, those little cartridges cost you 10 to 100 times more per page, or some ridiculous number versus the big guys.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Plus to promote good health, to get up and go walk over to your.
Yeah,
pick it
try,
up.
My department has taken the lead in that and had gotten rid of my printer a long time ago, and I go to all the big printers if I need a print.
Sounds good. You've come a long way.
Yes, I really do think the IT department for the town of Milford has come a long way in the last, 4 or 5 years.
I can remember the early discussions. They couldn't even spell IT.
So what do you got for big projects in 2019?
We're looking into doing that. We're looking to go towards the cloud and stuff like that, and we haven't really finalized major projects as of yet.
We're looking forward to actually meeting with the subcommittee, which we haven't met with in a little bit.
while.
I believe you are on there. I know Bob DeVito is not here, so we haven't met in a little while, but we know cloud services is the future, or as many will tell you, it's right now, but it just still makes me a little bit nervous, so we just want to collectively go over that part. And like we said, this print management program's been a big one for us, so we want to execute that in the next fiscal year too.
Are we happy where we're at with security? We had that incident a month ago where someone gained access and emailed a bunch of people a fake GoFundMe, so.
Correct. I
without
actually
disclosing
wanted
that
him
whole-
to talk about that. a
As
little
far
bit.
as that, there was nothing compromised
that.
on our systems. That was totally outside. The person went on our website, actually pulled a document that was publicly available to anyone that had all the town meeting members' email addresses. Out of no fault of no one's, that was
So
put up
they didn't
there.
gain access to our system?
No.
They
They
simply
manually.
typed in all the publicly available?
They downloaded the publicly available
Yes.
document, had all those email addresses, do what they want. That was remedied very quickly. I took that down as soon as I figured it out. They actually copied our logo from our website, which you can do to any website, with just tools within your operating system, and they stamped it on an email and sent it out to people. But
But we
nothing
got
in
the
our system was
retraction within, I think,
compromised.
an hour, didn't we?
Yeah, once we
I
found
mean,
it.
it wasn't there for a long time, because I remember getting it and then,
Correct.
boom.
Yep, I stopped it. As soon as I found out from Chris, who alerted me that he got this funny-looking email, I blocked that
And that's
domain.
really the main point here. Like, there's nothing that anything could have done to have prevented someone from targeting us, and
Yes.
we actually got targeted. But more importantly is the education that we're sending out to all the users that, hey, if it looks funny, it's funny. Notify him, and it worked. That's what happened before anyone even was able to open it. The first person that saw it sent it to him. He immediately retaliated, sent an email to everyone on it. Do not open this, delete it immediately, and then forward it to the police chief.
Yep.
So
And
I
I-
was actually pretty proud of how well that went down, and there's still nothing we could have done to
No,
prevent that from
nothing.
happening. And
You get an email address, someone's gonna send you email, just like someone gets your phone number, they're gonna call you.
But it looked like it was from a Milford, Mass.
Yep, it was
spoofed.
spoofed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Spoofs,
it was
yeah.
actually, what was, you remember it behind it? That was
Yeah,
not-
there was a-
It was just completely spoofing. It was a completely different IP address.
Yeah, it was
because
just different, you have to look, going all the behind the scenes, the source and everything. You can pick out
It's
where
like
it
the
came
phone
from.
calls. I see phone calls coming in, they're spoofing it because they're a 473
Yes,
Yes,
or a 478 number.
yep,
yes,
And
and it's not.
it's not,
It's somewhere in Nigeria or somewhere, but
absolutely.
what comes up on my caller ID looks legit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been busted a couple times answering the phone, and it's like, no, he died.
You almost did.
How are, yeah. How are we, is there any fear of us being able to, or needing to do some transfers in your department from personal services to, from salaries to, to, like, to be able to pay,
World Band.
World Band?
No.
As of right now, I'm more of a person that likes to back everything towards the end of the year, just to have us fun, just in case of any problems. So right now, we're in a pretty healthy position if we have to pay for anything.
Okay, I just wasn't sure with the change in your department if,
We should be
Yes,
okay.
we should be, definitely be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wilban has definitely been a help, and I do thank them. And hopefully, we'll be able to get someone sooner than later.
That's what I was gonna ask you, what's the plan?
Right now, we do have interviews, and we do have about 5 interviews scheduled for.
Tomorrow.
Mostly tomorrow,
Yeah.
and hopefully, we'll be able to come up with someone out of that group.
Yeah. Now with using our new HR director, we put it on different sources. The first go around, I think we only had like 9 candidates.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
time was.
We had 173 people apply for this position.
should have an HR director 20 years ago.
It's a lot of resumes.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions for Andy?
I have just one.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Meetings that get posted, you know, I get sporadic, just oddballs on my phone. I get selectmen, I get FinCom. I don't get them all. Is it the department's responsibility to get it to you and you scan it onto the webpage, or how can they get it so that it becomes electronically, like for a posting, rather than posting it upstairs on the board?
Well, that's
That part can get it.
That's a good question, because right now, that's the big topic around the town hall and everything, getting the meetings and agendas up. Right now, we're kind of the main place to put all the agendas. Everything gets sent to the clerks. I have set it up where they'll scan to a folder that we have on our network, which I can see, and we have a check sheet to make sure that they put theirs up where they need to. I put mine up. Rick Villani also has access to that, so he can see all these check sheets. I'll take the agendas and I put them up.
Are you
The
saying you
ones
get
that
a,
I get are great.
are you
Oh,
getting
the-
flagged on it? Is that what you're saying?
Are you
Or-
saying-
Email comes from Milford, Mass, says selectmen,
Yeah.
FinCom, says it has the agenda, it has, you know, if they have attachments, it has the attachments, it has.
Now, for that to work, you have to sign up for the board. There's a place you can
Okay.
sign up, and because obviously, you know, if you want, you get every single one that's out there. You get flooded with your email. But yeah, you'd sign up, and what I have to do is I have to check a box to notify people who have signed up. If I don't check that, you're not gonna get it. So I
Jeff, in
have
the
to make
past,
sure
we
that-
also had correct me if I'm wrong, but there was one section that was just like quote-unquote other boards and
Yes.
committees, and now, kind of for the reasons you're suggesting, you broke it out and set up a home page for pretty much everything out there.
For anyone who doesn't realize or know, and everyone out in the community, we do have a section, it's called Other Boards and Committees. Those are for those oddball, committees that might be there for a few days or a few months or whatever, such as the 4th of July parade. I have a whole section of all these committees, and that's where you can get agendas and minutes as well.
Thank you.
Anybody else for Andy? Well, thanks so much, Andy. Like I said, it's been a while for you to come in, so I just wanted to have you give a quick update, and sounds like everything's going great. So
Yes.
keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Next item on the agenda is an update on the purchase of the Milford Water Company. You want to do it, Mr. Valani, or you want me to do it?
Sure, Carl.
Up to you.
Press release is in front of you, that's pretty
Yep.
much where we're
Excellent.
at right now.
As of the Monday Selectmen meeting, which was February the 11th, they announced that the Milford Water Company acquisition has made some progress, and at this point, it has gotten to where each of the sides are to submit what they believe their valuation of the company is. Professionals and experts on both sides did investigations on the assets, and now the judge is looking for each side to submit what they think that the value of the Milford Water Company is, and then we'll use those two numbers along with other information in order to come up with what he believes is or he or she, excuse me, believes is the value of the company. Just as a reminder, whatever number that the judge comes up with, the town has the ability to say, yes, we want to purchase the water company, or no, we do not want to purchase the water company. On the other side, the Milford Water Company does not have an option. If they come out with a number, and that's a number that we are willing to pay, they have to sell it to us. So we have an out, they do not. So with that being said, the town of Milford's experts in what the selectmen have submitted to the court or the DPU, excuse me, is a value of $40 million. Okay, you'll all remember that earlier we started through negotiations and goodwill and everything else, that there was a value of $63 million was what the initial negotiation was with the water company, and obviously when that fell apart, now we come up with what we feel is a fair value, and the selectmen and their experts believe it's $40 million. On the other side, the Milford Water Company has submitted a value that they believe is appropriate for their company, and their value is $158 million.
Cheap at twice the price.
So there's a little bit of a gap there, and the judge will now take the information from the two parties and come up with their evaluation, or their valuation, excuse me. Their valuation is expected by the end of this year, 2019, and obviously there is an appeal process on both sides that could technically drag it into February and March of 2020. So that is the official update that was submitted by the selectmen on Monday. So I just wanted to let you guys all know that if you weren't avid watchers of the selectmen meetings, you're probably going to be seeing this in your next town crier. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Valani or myself or Zach or Paul or anybody about
They're
this?
saying if the judge comes up with, say, a number of $100 million and the town of Milford says, okay, we accept that, the water company can still file an appeal?
No, they cannot, that's.
Well, he said there's a-
They can
appeal
file an
process.
appeal on the amount, but not on the sale. That absolutely has to happen. If we want to buy it, they have no choice. They can appeal on the value and say, no, that the $100 million is not right, we think it should be 158, and the judge will look at it again and say, did I make a mistake?
How many times can this happen?
I am sure about that.
Legally? Who
Legally.
told you that legally?
Town council.
I don't believe if that.
Jerry, you can call town council. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, I will, because I don't believe that's the case, that's not what.
Okay,
Jerry
I'm not
Moore
gonna,
told me.
please. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Jeff.
just a question on that. No, we spent a lot of money as a town to evaluate, to get to the 63 million initially.
Yep.
Now we hired someone else again, we come up with 40 million. Why the gap? I get the water company number, right? Why the gap? Like, is there something missing from the?
That,
from the-
you're gonna have to talk to the experts on that. I can't,
Fair
that's a
enough.
technical question that I can't answer that. I just know that obviously, you know, there was negotiation in the beginning, so when they think 150 and we think 40, and if we met at 63, I mean, that's just, I wasn't at the negotiation
And the
table at the
63 wasn't
time.
an asset sale either.
Exactly, so that's why I would prefer any of those questions go to, our lawyers.
Are the
And,
valuation
happens in any sale
documents
like this.
confidential? Are the town and water company,
At this point,
Valuation
everything's public, because
documents
everything's been
confidential?
submitted to the
There's a
DPU.
link, there's a link on the website,
Yep.
will show you the town's filing and the water company filing.
All right, so if you go onto the Milford, Town of Milford website, because I know at this point, everything is in the DPU now, so everything is in the public venue.
That happens a lot in negotiations. Blue sky, it's called.
Any other questions for these guys? Nope. All right, subcommittee reports. I know obviously the subcommittee stuff is going to be ramping up now that we have the budget memo to be circulated. I know that subcommittees have been meeting with their departments. I know one subcommittee has met recently and has asked me not to bring it up because their chairman is not here. Mr. Schiavi wants to go over some of the details of the latest meeting, because they have met several times actually with the school since our last meeting. And obviously, there's quite a bit of information to go over with that department. With that being said, are there any other subcommittees who've met with their departments that have any information, or? Yep.
Capital Committee, right now, we're in the best place we've been in many years. Usually by now, we're up at over 2 million. We're actually at about 1.6, 1.5 something out of 1.5, so it looks really good so far.
Awesome.
You said anything can change in the next 6 months till the
Oh,
fall.
there's no question. And obviously, those phantom,
Nothing that I know of has been proposed as an emergency or special situation, but normally that comes up in the next month or two for the spring.
obviously, subcommittees, you guys are gonna get a lot busier in the next couple of months now that that memo's out. I do have an updated subcommittee assignment thing. Everyone is where they are. I just wanted to know that I added Vin, because Vin's obviously been starting to come back to meetings again, and I never had him on a subcommittee before because I didn't want that that subcommittee to be shorted, because Vin, you know, with his health and everything, was not a regular contributor, and I lost it. But subcommittee chairs, if you want to keep an eye, oh, here it is. Sorry. So Jerry, I put him on general government.
That's fine.
Okay.
I think he's been there before, he's good.
Yep. Mr. Soers, I put him on public safety. Joycey, I put him on public works.
Isn't Vinnie retired?
No, he's still in the committee.
No, is he retired?
Oh, is he retired? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think so.
I'm thinking of using him during the day.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
He's retired.
And then Mike, I put him on library and historical. Okay? So right now, I just wanted to start Vin on these subcommittees. So if you guys can add him to your email list and let him know when meetings are. I know he's anxious.
could you have Diana to send that out to everyone as a specific distribution?
Okay, I'll be happy to do that. All right, any other business, guys? All right, it's officially budget season. The budget memo is out, so we're gonna be busy. So, motion to adjourn by Aldo, second by Jeff. All those in favor, unanimous. Thank you and have a good night.
How did I miss the